What's up, guys? This is Tai Zen, a currency analyst for prisonorfreedom.com. It's a blog where we talk about the tools, the techniques, the strategies, and the technologies that's available to help people find freedom in health, wealth, and relationships. And in this series of currency analysis videos, we'll talk about the wealth aspect. And in this 9th episode, I want to talk specifically about how to identify Bitcoin market manipulation and the insider trading that's going on right now. Today's objective, I want to discuss what is market manipulation. I want to also define what is insider trading and how to identify Bitcoin manipulation using technical analysis and what you should do when Bitcoin is being manipulated. So we got a lot to cover, so let's go ahead to the charts here. I like to use TradingView.com for my currency analysis simply because the tools are very simple, it's very intuitive, and it's easy to use, and everyone has access to it. Market manipulation is when someone, or a group of people artificially do something to push the price down or to push the price up. So let's take a couple of examples here of what a real market manipulation is and what is not a real market manipulation, or at least what I do not constitute as a real market manipulation. Okay, so now let's just say that the price of Bitcoin fell because China decides to ban Bitcoin, or the US decides to ban Bitcoin, or Russia decides to ban Bitcoin, and the price of Bitcoin falls. Now, when something like that happens, I believe that to be a natural market occurrence, meaning that the government's always interfering with business, they're always interfering with people, they're always trying to take away people's rights and freedoms. So when they do that and the price falls, that is normal. I don't see that as market manipulation. I don't see that as a big deal. That happens all the time in the markets, in the stock market, Forex. So that's, to me, that's just normal. Everyday procedures in the market. So I would not say that Russia or China banning Bitcoin would constitute a market manipulation. That's just normal market activity. What constitutes market manipulation to me is when someone like the CEO of Mt. Gox goes out there and they purposely halt or freeze the withdrawal of funds, whether it's fiat or Bitcoin from the exchange, and they do that on purpose. Now, if they do that because of a technical glitch and they need to fix it, to me, that's not a market manipulation. However, when they do it on purpose, so that to cause fear and panic and create FUD, which stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the markets, when they create FUD in the markets to purposely drive down the price of Bitcoin, and likewise, to run up the price of Bitcoin, then that would constitute a market manipulation to me. Okay, so that I wanted to define market manipulation, the difference between a natural manipulation or natural fall in price and an artificial, so that we are both on the same page and understanding here. The other thing that I wanted to define as insider trading is insider trading. In the U.S., where I live, is considered illegal. I'm not certain if other countries are illegal or not. Most of the first world countries, insider trading is considered illegal. So insider trading is when you have advanced knowledge that the market is going to fall for some reason. So, for example, let's just take the U.S. stock market, for example. Let's just say that a drug company like Pfizer, they have been notified by the Food and Drug Administration that the drug that they are creating is not going to be legal, and they do not approve it for distribution among the public. And let's just say Pfizer knew that drug ahead of time, and I had a friend who was a VP or somebody that's at the top level executive at Pfizer, and they told me to go out there and sell or short the Pfizer stock because this drug is not going to be approved by the FDA, then that would be insider trading, because someone on the inside of the company has informed me, and it's illegal for someone to do that inside the company. that is a conflict of interest. A public company has to publicly release the information that they have about any business that they do or any notifications that they get, and they have to release it to the public all at one time so that everyone has access to it. So when someone inside the company gives me inside information in advance before they release it to the public, that constitutes insider trading. And if I go and I take advantage of that inside information before the mainstream public gets a hold of it, and I profit from that, that constitutes insider trading, and that is illegal. Now, that's how it works in a regulated market. A market manipulation and insider trading works in a manipulated market. In a Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market, there is no such thing as regulation. So because of that, market manipulations and insider trading can go on without any problems. When I say without any problems, that means that there's no SEC and there's no government regulation body that's going to come and regulate and enforce the illegal activities. Okay, so how do I know that or how do we know that there is insider trading and market manipulation going on in the Bitcoin market right now? I'm not one of those people that likes conspiracy theories. I like to base my investment decisions based on facts and things that I can verify. So what I like to look at is this. If we come over here to take a look at the Mt. Gox feed price data on Bitcoin Wisdom, because it has the order book here and the price ladder here and the time and sales down here, I don't pay attention to any of this right here, because to me that can be easily manipulated. These are nothing but want ads and for sale ads. The for sale ads are up here. People wanted to sell their Bitcoins, and the want ads are down here, the people that want to buy Bitcoins. This is the only thing that matters to me. This is the receipts. The technical term for it is the time and sales, okay, because it prints the time and the sale that occurred. So someone just sold 14 Bitcoins at 156. Someone just bought 6 Bitcoins at 154. So this to me is the facts. This is just a bunch of opinions and pending orders. That doesn't mean anything to me. Anybody can throw out an order saying that they want to buy 10,000 Bitcoins or sell 10,000 Bitcoins, but until it shows up on here, it does not mean anything to me. Okay, these are just wishful thinking. This is hard evidence right here. Now, the facts over here are printed over here on these charts in the form of candlesticks, and so this is a visual and graphical representation of the time and sales here. So I like to base my investing decisions based on facts. So here are the facts down here, and here are the facts up here, and these are just opinions over here. So let's switch back to the trading view charts, because I can show you guys this a lot easier. You'll notice how the market was going sideways for a long period of time there before it dropped from the 900s all the way down to the low 100s. Okay, now where are the signs and the evidence of market manipulation here? Now you'll notice that in an orderly market, meaning that when there's no manipulation going on, let's switch to the euro US dollar. You'll notice how the price moves up and down, up and down, up and down. Okay, you don't ever see a place where it's just flat across. Let's switch back to the Mt. Gox Bitcoin price charts, and you will notice that up here the market goes sideways for a long period of time. There's hardly any wicks or candles here. I'll zoom in so you can see it. You can see here there's hardly any wicks or candles right there, and then if you'll come down to here, you can clearly see that there are no wicks and candles here either. This is not a natural price chart. There's some type of artificial manipulation going on right here, and right here also, right there. There's some kind of nonsense going on here with Mark Karpelès, the CEO of Mt. Gox, and his crew over there at Mt. Gox. So that's why I say that this is a market manipulation, and I say that there's insider trading here, because someone is trying to accumulate a large position with Bitcoin. And what I suspect is that there are hedge funds and big investment firms, Wall Street investment firms, that are trying to accumulate a lot of Bitcoins for their hedge fund or for some type of fund that they're coming out with. And what they need to do is they need to come up with large quantities and buy up large quantities of Bitcoin. And they have lots of money on Wall Street. Okay, keep that in mind, that they can print money without ever having to work for it. The 1% that controls all the money on Wall Street, they never have to work a day in their life for the money that they have. Whereas you and I have to bust our butt and bust our tail to make the money that we have in our pockets and in our bank accounts. Okay, so it's very easy for them to easily print out more money and then take that printed money, that counterfeit printed money, that fiat money, and go and exchange it for some Bitcoins. So it's not that hard for them to buy all the Bitcoins up here and sell it, right, to push the price down to all the way down to here, and then start accumulating it down here. Now they may spend, I don't know, a few millions here. Let's just say, for example, that they spend 4 or 5, 10 million here, or a million here. They will buy up way more than that. So if they spend $1 million here, they will buy up 10, 20, 30 million dollars in Bitcoins down here. Okay, so I'm just throwing out random numbers. Those numbers are not real or anything. I'm just using it for explanatory purposes. Just understand that whatever amount they spend up here is just the cost of doing business to drive the price down to here. That's one way to push the price down so they can buy Bitcoins at a cheaper rate for their hedge funds, okay, or for their very large long positions. Now, the other way that they can drive the price down, artificially drive the price of Bitcoin down, and we know this for a fact that the price of Bitcoin is artificially being driven down, because if you look at the Bitstamp price, it's at 587 up here, and the BTCE price is at 568. So the rest of the market is not putting up with this, and they refuse to sell their Bitcoins on the other exchanges, okay? So now, how is it possible that Mt. Gox is able to artificially push the price of Bitcoin down to the low 100s while the other reputable exchanges are keeping it at close to 600? Okay. Now, the way that they would do this, in my opinion, and this is, I have to make this a disclaimer here that this is just my opinion, and I'm basing my opinion on the data that I see in front of me. The Mt. Gox data that I see in front of me is manipulated, okay? And this is where I'm basing my decision on, is that someone who needs to buy a lot of Bitcoins can easily buy out Mark Karpelès and Mt. Gox, okay? Mt. Gox is not a very big company. It's not a very big exchange. They can be easily bought out. A chump like Mark Karpelès, and just so that you guys know who I'm talking about, right? This is the guy right here. Let's just type in Mark Karpelès, Bitcoin. Okay. Let's look in the images here. And this is the guy right here. This is the guy who, look at the look on this guy. This chump right here is the guy that's the CEO of Mt. Gox. All right. So the big boys on Wall Street, who are much more savvy, much more money, much more invested in the financial markets, can easily buy this guy out right here. This guy is nothing. This guy is just a peon in the financial world, okay? And I want you to see this right here. Here's a picture of a customer wanting to know where his Bitcoins are at and confronting Mark Karpelès right here. I mean, think about this. Look at this guy right here, right? He's got his Starbucks coffee or whatever it is right here. And this guy's just a total chump, okay? He's screwing it up for everybody in the Bitcoin world, all right? He's screwing up everyone's investments. He's, temporarily hurting the Bitcoin market and the price, right? So it's very easy to buy out this chump right here, okay? All the big boys on Wall Street has to do is come over here and offer him some money and tell him to prevent people from withdrawing their funds, whether it's fiat or whether it's Bitcoin. So what he does is he freezes the withdrawal of Bitcoins on his exchange, and this causes panic and fear in the markets, and it causes people to sell their Bitcoin at a lower price just so they can get out in cash. All right. So what it does is it forces the price to go down, and we know that this is true, and we know this is to be happening because here it is right in front of our face. Okay, and we know that it's truly not the value of Bitcoin that's going down. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with Bitcoin. All right, it's as strong as ever, and that's why the price is still at 585 and 570 on Bitstamp and on BTCE, on a real exchange where they don't have chumps CEOs like Mark Karpelès working there. So what they're doing is somebody is paying off Mark Karpelès to withdraw, to freeze the withdrawal of bitcoins, causing fear and panic and the price of Bitcoin to fall down. And whoever is paying him off is buying it down here in the low 100s. Okay. Now keep in mind that if we switch this to a 15-minute chart, look at this area right here. This area right here is going to be magnified, and look at that. Where in the world do you see a flat line like that for a market pricing and then a drop like that? Okay, this is what they're doing, is they're accumulating some Bitcoins here, and then after that, they let the price fall some more, accumulate some more, let the price fall, and accumulate. Okay, this is a classic accumulation for a big hedge fund or somebody with lots of money and they want lots of Bitcoins in their wallet. So that's what they're doing right here. So that's why I say that this is a market manipulation by the chump Mark Karpelès and company at Mt. Gox, and by the whoever's got a lot of money that paid him off. Okay, now Mark Karpelès is probably laughing his way to the bank. You see this smug look on his face right here? That's probably what he's thinking right now. If you think he's panicking or he's worried about it, I don't believe it for 1 minute, because anybody that has integrity and anybody that has any ounce of moral or integrity or honesty in them, they would at least let the public know what's going on if there was truly a technical issue. Okay, the Bitcoin community is very forgiving. They are very understanding that the Bitcoin market is very volatile, risky. So if you just open your mouth or write a few emails and let people know what's going on, people would not panic like this and cause the price to drop to $100. The only reason why someone would do this, there's only one reason that a chump CEO would allow the price of Bitcoin to fall like this at his exchange, is because he's being paid off. Somebody paid the chump Mark Karpelès off, so now he's allowing them to have their way with his exchange. He's freezing the Bitcoin prices. So I would advise that if you are new to Bitcoin and you're looking for an exchange to trade, that you would avoid Mt. Gox totally, or anything that is related to the chump Mark Karpelès. And then the other thing too is that if you have some Bitcoins here, I wish you the best of luck to get it out so that you are not being ripped off by Mark Karpelès and the Wall Street people that have bought him off. Okay, keep in mind, guys, that there are a group of people, like myself and others, who look at Bitcoin as a revolutionary technology to bring freedom and power back to the 99% on Main Street and take it away from the 1% that's on Wall Street. However, you have a small percentage of people that are in Bitcoin strictly for profit. Okay, the chump Mark Karpelès is one of those people that's in this strictly for profit. He does not give an ounce of care for 1 minute what Bitcoin does or provides to the 99% of the people on Main Street. He could care less. He's going to get away with the profits that he made, right? And you know what? You may like what he does, you may not like what he does, but he is in this to make a profit. So we cannot blame him, okay, for doing what he's doing, for taking the bribes and taking money under the table to crash the market artificially so that he can profit from it. Okay, do not think for 1 minute. Do not think for 1 minute that Mark Karpelès is not profiting from this fiasco. Okay, he is profiting tremendously from this. You would have to be a complete, total fool and moron not to make money from your own exchange that you artificially manipulate the price. Okay, so that's what market manipulation looks like, and that's what insider trading looks like, folks. And let's go on to this next part right here. What to do when, oh, by the way, notice that I put how to identify Bitcoin manipulation using technical analysis. I don't say using fundamental analysis, because fundamentally, Bitcoin's protocol is as strong as ever. There's nothing wrong with the protocol. The transaction malleability issue that Mark Karpelès is blaming is the cause and the root of the problem. That has been known in the Bitcoin world since 2011. Okay, and Gavin Andresen, the chief scientist and core and head developer of the Bitcoin software and the code, has already put out on his blog at the bitcoinfoundation.org blog that the market, the transaction malleability is not an issue. That is, this issue with Mt. Gox is what him and his Wall Street buddies are doing to manipulate the market in order to acquire cheaper Bitcoins. Okay, so enough of that about Mt. Gox. Here's what are some options that you can do when Bitcoin is being manipulated. Okay, what to do during a Bitcoin market manipulation? One is that you can just sit on the sideline in fiat or cash, okay, and do nothing and just wait to see what after the dust settles before you jump back in. The other thing is you can buy Bitcoin at a discount, and you're going to take on greater risk, but there's a potential for a greater reward. So full disclosure here for myself personally, I've bought more Bitcoins, and for several reasons. One is because it hit my predetermined price targets. So if you've been following me on my currency analysis series for a while now, you will know that I do not like to chase after a trade. Okay, I buy and sell in advance of where I place my orders. So here's my long-term trend line for Bitcoin. Okay, and some people say, hey, the market is in a downtrend. Oh yeah, it's in a downtrend in a temporary wise. But if you look at this over a long term, right here, if you're a long-term trader like myself, where Bitcoin went from here to here, we are still in an uptrend. Okay, the downtrend occurs when it starts to break like somewhere below here. Then I might consider it to be on a downtrend. But for now, long-term wise, for a multi-month, possibly a multi-year trade or position, this is the ideal buy point for me because it's near the support level down here and it's hitting this right here. This is called what I call a confluence. Okay, it's not the picture perfect confluence due to the market manipulation that's going on, but nevertheless it is a confluence. So I loaded up on some more Bitcoins right there in that area right there. Okay, so as I was saying back here, you can buy Bitcoin at a discount and assume greater risk, but there's also a potential for a greater reward. Now keep in mind that when you buy, you have to ask yourself, would you rather buy Bitcoins down here, or would you rather buy it when it's up to here or up to here? Me personally, the chart shows that when the last time when the price fell to here, it shot back up. It came down to here, it shot back up. It came down to here, right? And it shot up. So there is a high probability that it will shoot back up again because it did here and here. And so I would not be surprised if it does it again here. So I have to go by my past trading experience. So I'm going to go long here, right? So the other thing that you can do is you can wait for Bitcoin to go back up. You will assume lower risk, but the reward will also be lower also, okay? So what I mean by that is that if you wait for the price to break above this blue trend line, pull back and hit that trend line again before you buy in, well then obviously the reward will be a lot less because the price will be up here already, okay? The other thing that you can do is that you can look for opportunities in other cryptocurrency markets, all right? Like with Nextcoin, with Dogecoin or Dogecoin, and then with Litecoin. So let's take a look at that. You can go over here to cryptocurrency market cap, the coin market cap here, and you'll notice that in the top 10 here, You got a bunch of different ones. I would ignore Ripple. Ripple's not even a currency. I don't even know why they put it here. Ripple is just like a payment system. Okay, Ripple is just garbage. I don't see it going anywhere. The reason why I say that is because it's been sitting here at number 2 for the last few months, and the price has not gone anywhere. Okay, possibly down, and that's it. The trading volume is very low. I would not even waste time with this. Okay, over here. And also Ripple is centralized. It's actually a company, so I don't even know why they put this up here. Okay, they should remove this. But anyway, you got Litecoin, you got Purecoin, you got Dogecoin here, and you got Nex, and you got Mastercoin, all these. Okay, I would also stay away from this Quark right here, simply because that guy Bill Steele. I don't like it when somebody is against cryptocurrencies and all of a sudden they get paid off and now they're supporting cryptocurrencies. So I'm not going to say which ones you should buy and which ones you should not, but there's 2 on here that I would avoid altogether. One is Quark Coin, simply because the main guy that's supporting it and pushing it was completely against Bitcoin, was totally against Bitcoin, and then one day they offer him a bunch of quarks, right, and then he starts pumping it. Okay, so I would avoid that. And I would avoid Ripple because that's actually a company. To me, that's no different than like PayPal or Visa or MasterCard, okay? They might have a different system, but this is a business. I don't even know why they put it here, okay? Now, some of these other ones here, they can be pumped and dumped, but that's okay. That's okay. I don't care if it's a pump and dump as long as I'm in on it when it's making the move and I make money from it, okay? So none of these coins, the only one that I'm in this because of its revolutionary technology is Bitcoin. The rest of these, right, is just all a crapshoot, and you should not put money into it unless you can just throw that money away, okay? If you cannot afford to just send me that money for free and say, hey, Ty, I appreciate all the currency analysis videos that you're doing for me. If you go, man, I would never do that, then you should not take that money and invest it in this, okay? If you can see yourself taking money that you have and just giving it to me or some random stranger for free with no obligation, then you are welcome to use that money to invest in this. If you cannot afford to do that, then do not do that, okay? So I'm telling you that, guys, how dangerous these cryptocurrencies are. One thing that I can also say is that, just real quick here, I'll make a separate video on how I analyze cryptocurrencies. But one thing, my 2 main rules is this, is that I don't invest in anything that's below the top 10, okay? The other thing too is that the volume is extremely important. If something is below $100,000, it's really tough to invest in that because there's not enough liquidity. So be careful about that, okay? I'll figure out some more trading rules for trading crypto, these altcoins later on. But right now, the 2 main ones that I focus on is that I don't pay attention to anything that's less than 100,000, and I don't pay attention to anything that's less than the top 10. Okay, so let's go back to the market cap here. I don't pay attention to the market cap or the total supply. That does not mean anything to me. Okay, those numbers have no influence on my decision to invest in the coin or not. Okay, so let's go back to the slides here. So I want to say real quick, guys, because I want to make this Bitcoin and cryptocurrency risk disclosure, because if you're watching me and you're following me, I want you to be fully aware of the risk that's involved. Okay, like I said, only use throwaway money to invest in the cryptocurrency market. Beginners should avoid the Bitcoin market altogether. If you want to learn how to trade, Bitcoin is not the market to learn how to trade in. You should go and open up a Forex account and learn how to trade in that. Okay, that's much better. You cannot expect a 10 to 1,000% gains without risk. Okay, that comes with the territory. You cannot expect to invest in a cryptocurrency and you want 10% gains, 100% gains, 1,000% gains, and to expect that type of gains within a month or a year and not expect any massive risk. You will incur massive risk to get that 100 or 1,000% gains in a year. Okay, BTC is not regulated. Bitcoin is not regulated. It's not insured by anyone. So if you invest into it and you lose money, that's your fault. It's no one's fault. It's not my fault. It's not anybody's fault. It's your fault that you invested money into an unregulated market, okay, in an unregulated security, in an unregulated financial instrument, right? Bitcoin is designed to take power away from the banks. So if you go and ask someone on Wall Street about Bitcoin, it's a complete waste of time. That is high risk right there. You are going to ask somebody that is against Bitcoin, that is going to take them out of business, it's going to put them out of business and take away money out of their pocket and take food off of their table. They're not going to tell you what Bitcoin's capability is. So asking them is high risk. So never get financial advice or investing or trading advice from someone that works on Wall Street. All right? They cannot own Bitcoins. Most of them that work for big banks and big firms, it's not even legal for them to invest in Bitcoin in the U.S. So if you go and ask one of those people, like when J.P. Morgan Chase, when Jamie Dimon puts out a statement that Bitcoin is not good, is not a good currency, he's talking out his ass because he's not, by law, he's not even allowed to invest in cryptocurrencies because it's against Chase Bank's operating agreements, and it's against SEC rule for him to even buy Bitcoins. So how would he even know what a Bitcoin is? Okay, so anybody that works at a bank, like the people at Bank of America putting out statements talking about the valuation of Bitcoin, it's illegal for those guys to even buy Bitcoins. In case you live outside the U.S., in case you don't know, if you work for a big bank or a Wall Street firm, there are rules and regulations that you have to comply by. So let's say that if you work for Scottrade, Ameritrade, Bank of America, any of that, there are certain stocks and currencies that you cannot buy or invest in, and you have to disclose it to them or else they can fire you from your job. Okay, so when you get a job with these Wall Street firms, you have to sign a statement saying that you will not buy certain stocks, you will not buy certain currencies and trade a certain way. So for the fact that these bankers are opening their mouth to talk about a Bitcoin or what it's capable of doing or not doing, they're just talking out their ass because they're not even allowed to even touch it in U.S. laws. Okay, so I hope that these disclosures, or these risk disclosure statements, help you in making the right decision when you're investing in Bitcoins. Leave some feedback, guys. If you have any questions or comments, leave it below this video. Okay. If you want to make coffee and beer donations to my freedom efforts and my blogging efforts, you're welcome to make donations at prisonorfreedom.com/donations. Sharing is caring. If you see someone that is panicking in the markets and they're not clear what's happening with the Mt. Gox issues, please share this video with them. Okay. And also, if you have success from following my currency analysis videos, please send me screenshots and testimonies of your success. Okay. And also, guys, become a real freedom fighter. Don't just be one of those people that sit on the sidelines and whine and complain about the governments and the banks and Wall Street, right? Satoshi Nakamoto has given us the tools, right? In today's world, we no longer need swords, spears, and guns to fight off the enemy on Wall Street. We can now fight it using cryptography, using Bitcoin, using cryptocurrencies, using altcoins, okay? That's how we will take power away from Wall Street and bring it back to the 99% on Main Street. Thanks for following me and thanks for watching this video, and I'll look forward to seeing you again in the next video.